So I want to talk a little bit about love exclusively here and break it down a little bit because love is the biggest one. And I put this here, as you remember in the other video, is the canopy. This is kind of like a canopy. This is the big one. Everything else fits underneath it. But when you're going through it and you say, I love you, if we can make more distinctions about what does that I love you mean, we can start to get zero in more on the available love within that distinction. Okay, and again, this is my model, my map of what this is. I didn't know when I was a kid and used to go to Sunday school and Bible school, they'd talk about love, the love of God, and love your neighbor and love this. And it all just kind of like meant one love. And I think about the love in relationships to my parents. Now, I knew that it was different than the love that I had for my sisters or my grandmother. And it was different when I grew up with the women that I had, but I never really distinguished it. It was like, well, love is love, and I got to go back to this one thing called love. And what happens is it's a big ball, but it really doesn't do justice to what love is in our system. And if we start to separate it out, what it is it's almost like it's all compacted into one thing. And then when we break it up into pieces and make distinctions about it, it pops open and there's a whole lot more there. And then each individual one has a big container to put it in. So let's talk about the different containers of love, what the different meanings are of love. And if you think when you go through the Ryan slide through time or you go through any of the other exercises, you start off with one of these loves and that will be your benchmark. It will be the big dome, the big canopy underneath what everything else that you're doing. So when you're going into I'm sorry, you don't kind of in your mind, the way the mind works, it kind of files everything together. If you're talking to a friend, you don't want it to kind of slip over into eros love, which is more of a erotic or sexual love. So what you want to do is start to identify and say, this is the type of love that I'm interested in, or the person that's in front of me. Where do I slide through time? Where do I find these examples to get there? It makes it easier to identify those files then in your mind as you go through this. So let's talk about the first one. Desire. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. We're going by Greek meaning too. The Greeks separated love up into 5. Hebrew separated even to some more. We'll read off a Hebrew list a little bit and show you some of the other loves that really I don't think attain or apply to this. But the Greeks had 5 definitions basically for what love was. And the first one was a desire, an attraction. I've heard it say that the word desire when broken up means of the Father. So when we have a desire for something, a proper desire for something, of the Father, and of the Father they're meaning of God. The desire came in you through God for you to get it, not an improper data desire. It's more like an inspired desire to get something or to get something done or to do something. It's an attraction. So when people talk about the law of attraction, they want to attract something into their lives. What are they doing? It's, what is it? Epithumia, something along those lines. They're desiring that. They're desiring the car. They're desiring the house. They're desiring their soulmate. They're having a desire. They want to attract that into their lives without really knowing the experience of that. They don't know what the experience of that is yet, but they want it in there because they think it's going to give them a certain experience. So this one right here probably isn't going to pertain too much into what we're talking about when we're going into love, when we're doing I love you, or I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, when we go into that. The second one is eros. That's one that a lot of us are familiar. It's a longing, but it's a romantic longing. It has to do with the idea of romance and sex and erotic nature. It's an erotic nature. I love the erotic part. It's a drawing in there. That may have something to do with your relationship with somebody that you're married to or you're in love with, and you're having issues and problems that may be longing. If the person doesn't feel like that, you're looking at them or you have a longing for them from that place, but you're longing for them as a brother or a sister, it's not triggering anything. So you're doing the I love you or saying it or going through it, they're not picking it up properly, whereas maybe that's what they're looking for. So again, this is going to be an exclusive. It's not going to pertain to too many situations, again, in what we're talking about, however it may, and it may be very important in your life. The other one, the next one, is belonging, storage, and affection. And this is kind of belonging, like family. If you have a family and your grandparents and your brothers and sisters and things like that, you're in a group, you have a love for them, you have a love in a group. This is going to work great in work. If you're at work, if you're in a mall parking lot, somebody backs into your car, then you're going to say, okay, maybe I can find something. If this was really my brother, or this is my brother's son that I didn't know, how would I feel if I'd get upset and say, you know, wow, that was crazy. Why'd you do that? You weren't very smart. And then he shows you the ID and you realize, oh gosh, you must be Brian. I never met you before. Oh, you're my, it changes everything. He's belonging now. So what happens if you approach that person from that belonging at that point, to include them in that kind of a love, a belonging love, an affection love, storage, as it says there. The next one is a cherishing love. This is where it starts to get a little bit closer with a lot of different people. This is friendship. Philios, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. So they say brotherly love, but it's like a brother friendship. You know, a lot of the people of Philadelphia, that whether they were Masons or had different groups, you got Shriners, there is a love, there's a friendship, there's the best friends that I've grown up with, the friends that I'm living here with now in Mount Shasta, the friends that I had in Austin. That is a brotherly type of a love. It's a closeness, it's a brotherly love of friendship, and I cherish those people. I have friends. So think about that when you're going again through the slide through time, or you're looking for those locations. You say, man, I really cherish this person. And this guy was a friend of mine, or this woman was a friend of mine, and they did this to me, and I'm having a hard time. And I can think of the times when I did cherish them. I can think of times when other friends, and if I can't get it from that friend, if I go and say, well, what about, oh, this friend, I really cherish his time and the time that I spend with him, or her time and the time that, what if I felt like this towards that other person? Again, what you're doing is you want to get the state, you want to get the memory, okay, the data, the positive data, the positive memory, and you want to clean on that as well. The positive, negative, whatever it is, clean on that. But use that to bring you into a state, a positive one of opening up. Love, gratitude, thankfulness. And have that there, cherishing friendship. Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. This one you're going to use more for the people around you. This one is going to be a little bit more farther removed because of, it's similar, the belonging, but it's going to be a little bit further removed, maybe coworkers and people that aren't that close. But then now we're getting to closer inner circle of friends. And then we got the other one, which is selfless giving, God love, agape love. This is the love of something that is all-encompassing. The way that God loves us, the way divinity loves us, and the way that if we're doing it properly, we're the aphorism, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, that presupposes your neighbor you love as yourself, that you have to have love in you and love for yourself. If it's an egotistical love, do you love yourself because you're egotistical? I'm good looking, I got a big car, I got a lot of money in my bank, I love myself. Man, I've got the spirit of the divine running through me and clear, and I love the divine in me. I love the container or the glass, whatever it is that has that there. It's a proper type of God love, selfless loving and giving. So it's selfless giving, and it's an outward expression. I use this a lot when I'm doing therapy and talking to people where they're stuck a little bit, and I say, think about a tree and think about flowers, everything that we have out there. It has a process to go through it. It has a creation. What is it? A tree has agape love. Flowers have agape love. Why? Because they give freely, and it's there. What happens? The sap comes up from the roots, from the divine, up through the tree, out the branches to the fruit. And the fruit is meant for others to survive. It's meant for animals. It's meant for us. We get nourished from the love that comes from the roots. And that is what agape love is to say our roots. What are our roots? The divine is our roots. The divine in us is our roots. How do we let that flow through our being, flow through our data, flow through everything, to clean that up so that eventually when we clean the aka, when we clean the cords of communication that is there, we're able to let the divine flow more through there. And what happens? The person at the other end of the branch is able to pick the fruit from us and be nourished from it. Not sour fruit, but sweet fruit that they're able to be nourished from. That's what we're giving. This is what agape love is when you think about that. Think about your relationship to God and your relationship to the divine, and where you live and how you can see this manifesting itself in your reality all over the place. And then think about yourself as a vessel of this selfless giving, of this God love, of this agape, so that others may benefit from the sweetness of the fruit of that divine and divinity that runs through you.